and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you an interview that I did with Josh Wright, and it's about a 15-minute interview. If you don't know Josh Wright already, he is a YouTuber and he has 87,000 subscribers. He's also a pianist, a teacher, and he does lots of master classes and miscellaneous videos about music and piano, so he's really great. So if you haven't seen his videos, it would be great to check him out. He does really great stuff. So during this interview, I asked Josh 6 questions about how he started his YouTube channel and any advice that he has for pianists like me and upcoming teachers like me who want to incorporate technology into their teaching. If you don't want to watch the whole thing, then you can just look in the description box, and I have linked the exact time to every question that I ask. So specific questions, you can just go and click on those links to go right to those questions. So I hope you enjoy this video, and of course let me know if there are any other people you'd like me to interview. Comment and subscribe, and let me know if you have any questions. With the very first question, when and why did you start your YouTube channel?
I started it in 2009. I think originally I just started it to upload a couple performances, and then I started using it to upload tutorials for my own students because I was getting annoyed teaching the same thing over and over, and if the student had questions, they'd have to wait a full week to get to the next lesson, and like, oh, I wasn't sure what you meant by that. So I would do just little, I think the first videos were on accuracy and then organized practicing, things like that. And then people from around the world started emailing me questions about, hey, how do you do this? I have a daughter studying piano, or I'm an adult coming back to piano after many years. How would you do this? So it just grew from there. So that's why I originally started it, but it kind of became a much more significant part of my career the more it grew.
Great. So since 2009, is that when once you started, were you very active about it and just kind of from there, or did you take any breaks in between?
Yeah, I was pretty active, I think, the first year, and then I just kind of fell off for a while. I'd upload maybe 4 or 5 times a year, I think. Not much. And then I started doing more because my friend, and he and I would talk a lot about marketing and different strategies and things like that. And he's like, dude, you need to post to your YouTube a lot more. This is pathetic how much you're posting. And I laughed. I was like, yeah, I know. So I started doing more. And then after I finished my schooling, well, actually, even during my schooling, I did quite a bit, like during my doctorate. But then after I got home, that's when I really saw the potential. I guess it may have been my last year of my doctorate, I started ProPractice, which is a paid course that I run with little tutorials, like 30 to 60-minute tutorials on a given piece. So, okay, this one's on the first movement of Pathetique Sonata. This one is on the first Chopin Ballade. This one. And so, and I started selling those for a few dollars, and then people started really liking that. So that has now become way more of a significant source of income than anything else I do. So it was kind of fun to see the evolution of just starting out for a little passion project to now it's one of the ways I support my family the most effectively.
Wow. So so you started with YouTube, you went to ProPractice, and as far as like other software and technology is concerned, what are your main, I guess, like you said, your main avenues for your studio and just for your personal, career?
So I have 3 video series. The YouTube series is called Josh Wright Piano TV. I've been doing that for 10 years now. I've done the ProPractice since August of 2014, so we just hit 5 years. And then I started something about 2.5 years ago called the VIP Masterclass series. So a lot of people were asking me questions, and they said, ProPractice is great, but I might not be working on this piece, or I might not be working on this piece that you covered. I would love it if you could start a series where members just write in little small questions each week, and you do videos based on members' requests. So, hey, I'm struggling with these 5 measures of the third Chopin etude from Opus 10. Can you do a quick video on that? And I'll do a 10 or 15-minute video on that. And I'll post 1 or 2 videos a week with that. So those are the 3 Series that I run. So I run Josh Wright Piano TV is obviously just on YouTube, and then I push it all through Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all of those. And then I run the 2 courses on Teachable. So that's kind of a fun software that I've used. I use Canva to make all of my thumbnails. It's nothing fancy at all. I use Adobe Premiere Pro to edit all of my videos. I used to use iMovie, but once I started doing ProPractice with dual camera angles, I needed something with more capabilities. So Adobe Premiere Pro is what I use for that. Trying to think of other softwares that I use. I use like Amadeus Pro. That's like a watered down version of Pro Tools for any audio recording that I do. Because I've recorded and produced our last few albums with my wife and I. So that's what I use for audio. And then I use Skype for Skype lessons. That's a big part of what I do now as well, is Skype lessons. So
Okay. So who would you say is your target group? Do you feel like you address all age groups basically? Because I noticed that on YouTube you have a variety of videos, right? But a lot of them address the professional pianist, like, the piano performance major. So who do you think is your target audience at this time, or do you feel like you don't really have one?
you could argue that it's everyone. I started with just advanced stuff because I was teaching things on my channel that I was learning. I almost used my channel as a way to document and remember all of these techniques that I would learn from my various teachers and lessons. So, like, there was this weird thing that Sergey Babayan taught me one time with the wrist. He said, you have to use the wrist as the fourth joint. Actually, that was another teacher that said that. But then he taught that to me in a Schubert sonata, the A minor D784. And he was saying this weird technique about how you don't want to just use finger staccato, but you don't want to just legato. He said you want a more pointed sound. So then I would, you just use the tiniest bit of wrist bounce to get that more pointed sound, but you can still have it legato. Kind of takes this cool effect. And I was like, I will never remember that if I don't document that. So I went home and made a YouTube video on it, and people seemed to like it. So that was kind of the approach to my channel for a long time. I had a couple of intermediate tutorials. I don't know if I had any beginner tutorials, maybe just here and there, just a random one. But as I expanded ProPractice and I started to see that, this can hit every demographic, then I worked really hard last year, especially. I made a complete course, which has beginner, intermediate, and advanced, all levels. And then right now, in the next 3 weeks, my wife and I will finish 10 lessons of an early beginner course, like how to get started right off the bat, like you've never had a single lesson. We're doing that. We're teaming up with a foundation in the Middle East that's like teaching it to all the Iraqi refugees who've been displaced from their homes. So it's been really fun to explore the different demographics. But yeah, I would say all demographics. But I do notice that a lot of adult students seem to gravitate towards it even more than kids. Yeah, I do have some teenagers in the course. I do have, some little kids that follow along with it, but I would say the majority is adults that are coming back to piano or wanting to learn for the first time.
How much do you think that technology will carry through the following years? What's your relationship with technology, and do you think that we really have to move out of the old system?
Sure. I think that a good teaching concept is a good teaching concept, whether it's delivered through a video, through a Skype lesson, through a live lesson. People often ask me, what's the effectiveness rate of Skype lessons in comparison to live lessons? And I would say for your average person, it's probably about 95% effective. The only thing that you're not getting over Skype that you are getting in person, that I've found, if you're using a good microphone on both ends, and I just use this. This is what I don't even know if I've selected this microphone. Sorry. So this, I have like a $900 microphone. This is $100, and I think this is almost as good as the $900 one, and it's probably as good as the $900 one for a Skype lesson. So the only reason you'd use the super nice mics is if you're recording an album. You would want that higher quality mic, but So having said that, you would want to realize that, hey, like as long as they're learning the right concepts, that's the most important. Now, I do think that if someone's going to reach their full potential, they do need one-on-one help. Um, but I think that there's a place for technology in many instances, because people sometimes do get hard-headed. They say, oh, no, that's crap. But you have to understand that, yeah, if someone is across the street or 20, 30 minutes away from a world-class teacher, I'll be the first one to say, if you can afford lessons with them, go take lessons from them. I Ideally, my video courses are meant as a supplement to live lessons, but I understand some people can't afford live lessons. Some people have no access to a good teacher in their area. A lot of people say it's a 3 or 4 hour drive each way. Quite a few people have told me that, or in South America, there's a lot of people that say there are no good teachers in my country that even approach what you're teaching, even just on YouTube. So it's filling a void, and I'm not trying to recruit everyone into my studio at all. I'm just trying to provide a resource if people can't afford a traditional music education. So I do think that if you're going to be a concert pianist, you need one-on-one lessons. If you're wanting to play piano as a hobby or potentially pursue it, then there's nothing wrong with starting out with some video courses. And then if you get serious about it, then you could go to the private lesson route. And I think Skype lessons, again, it's what you have available to you. If you don't have quality teachers in your area, what should you do? Just not try? Of course, you should do Skype lessons with a quality teacher.
I think you bring about a really great point about technology. It's accessible. It's a more affordable for the general public. I don't think the majority of people don't want to grow up to be concert pianists, right? But they do want their kids and themselves to learn piano, so that they can play those songs that they enjoy. I don't want to take too much time, so a last question for you. You know that I'm doing my dissertation kind of about how technology can be used as a supplemental tool in private teaching and catering it to our own studio and philosophy. So what advice do you have for me as like an up and coming teacher and soon to be doctorate graduate from the U?
Yeah, it's a great question. There's so many things that you could pursue. I would say don't ever think that, and obviously from our conversation, you don't think this way, but I would give this advice to anybody graduating. Don't think that there's only one path to success. So I still make a little bit of money performing each year. I make some private teaching, and then I make some Skype lessons, and then I make some with my online courses. And then I also make some through like YouTube ad revenue and Amazon affiliates. Like if somebody buys that microphone using my affiliate link, I might make a couple dollars. But when you have tens of thousands of people doing that, it's a few $100s a month extra, So there's so many streams of revenue. And I would say as you build, if you're wanting to go the online route, contacting people like me or other people that teach online, because people are always saying, oh, I would love to take lessons with you, but because my schedule is so jam-packed with recording and all these things, my rates are quite high. And so I just am like, I could refer you to somebody else, but I only have a couple of students that teach at the intermediate level. And so, networking is really important. And then I would say if you're wanting to go that technological route as well, doing Skype lessons, doing the social media route, you really start listening or studying really world-class marketers and just put out as much content as you can. I would say the more value you bring to someone's life, the more you get back. And it's not a selfish thing, like I'm only going to give so I can get. It's like if you put out a lot of great content, you're going to find new students or people that want to come study with you. If you put out that great content, you will have the kind of moral authority if you ever do start a course, or if you ever do start a little series, or if you want to start a festival, or if you want to start a workshop or something, you'll have a huge audience that that you can capture. And if you want to get really nitpicky with details, I'd say start building your email list immediately and then post a lot. That email list, I neglected it until like last year, like a year ago. It's pathetic. I had like maybe like two or 3,000 people on my email list, and now it's like 25,000, in a year. So I've just been capturing all the low hanging fruit this last year.
Right.
Like, oh my gosh, like people can sign up for a free training on my website, they can download it, and that way I can capture their email so that then I can be in contact with them when I'm performing, when I release a new course. So I'd say building an email list is probably one of the most valuable things you can do, along with just posting really valuable content for people each day.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Josh. I've seen a lot of positive things come out of technology, and I think that I'm very grateful for people like you who have gone before and set that path and made it, possible and realistic. And so, yes, thank you so much. And I do have a question. Is that Practice app, is it just your method that you have created with your wife?
So the early beginner one is like my wife wrote the curriculum and I just taught it, but that's only like 10 lessons.
Okay.
That's just to really get students started. The ProPractice is just taking like really common exercises and repertoire pieces and teaching them for and giving students creative methods on how to do it. So like I made this little thing called the technique series. It's like around $100, and I take them through every scale, arpeggio, triad, seventh chord, and every key, and then I do like 6 or 7 other supplemental videos of like fun techniques that I've gone over. But each video has a new way of practicing. And I'm sure you know all these methods from studying with Ning, but like high fingers, finger staccato, 3 rhythms, 5 rhythms, 7 rhythms, 9 rhythms, up down exercise, free hands exercise, like all these different things that I've learned over the years. So the students are practicing effectively rather than just like, here's like a lot of YouTube videos, as you know, are like, here's how to play a C scale, and it will light up the keys. They have that technology where the keys light up. And it's just kind of teaching students to be robots. Whereas when you're really teaching them these methods that you've learned through all your education, and I've heard you play, you're an amazing pianist. So, I mean, you probably have a lot of methods that I don't know about. As you teach those types of things, I think people really respond to that rather than a lot of people think, okay, I got to start from scratch. Here's middle C. Here's your 3 black keys. My wife and I just barely did that because that was the only thing missing from the course rather than like, let's start from scratch and take them to an advanced level. I actually started with the advanced stuff and then worked backwards, just because a lot of people are curious about that. So I think it's great that you're posting.
Well, thank you so much, Josh. I'll be